Addiction. No, it's not a mistake. It's again addiction. Why? Because our addictions are extremely difficult to acknowledge. Our victim, our internal victim, is an expert in hiding from our destructive patterns. Addiction thrives because of our lies. It's a master in lying to ourselves, to the world around us. That is how it prevails, through lies. Addiction cannot exist in a human being that gains consciousness of its own self, in a human being that has become completely honest with what and who we are, in our shadow and in our light. We are beings that are veiled by ignorance, and this veil of ignorance make us imperfect. And imperfect means we have get it wrong, we are getting it wrong, and we will continue to get it wrong. Ignorance means I am blind, and my attachments and my aversions become my motivator my motivators in life. So fear, rage, jealousy become the fuel through which I take every action, internally in myself and externally. So the biggest lie of addiction is I am not addicted to anything, and poor of me. Everything gets right and I get it wrong. So when I start having those kind of dialogues in my mind, when I start looking into, look how everybody's happy but me, look how everybody has a partner but me, look how everybody gets everything but me, then you know you are in an addiction. Watch out. Whenever your internal discourse, whenever the voices in your mind are talking about how big is your pain, how incapable you are of sorting out life, of organizing your life, well, then you have to watch out, because you're most certainly in an addictive state. Our habits of consumption of substances are extremely unhealthy. We have normalized the consumption of alcohol, for example, nicotine, and nowadays cannabis, together with many other psychedelic depressors and stimulants, for socializing, for partying, for being alone in our home. So we're living times where abusive consumption of substances that are extremely toxic to our mind, our emotions, and our bodies are right there, and we're using them either in an everyday basis or weekly. So when your consumption is social, it is also an addiction. When you cannot sit with friends and be sober with a glass of water, a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, well, then you are in an addiction. An addiction is a pattern, a habit that we cannot change, and through which we are evading, avoiding, escaping reality. So whenever I need a substance in order to have fun, in order to have sex, in order to relax, in order to handle stress, I am in an addiction. It doesn't matter if the addiction is towards alcohol or cannabis. Some people lie to themselves, oh, it's not alcohol, it's a plant. It doesn't matter that it's a plant. The plant is perfectly okay as it is. The problem is how we use it, how we consume it. In the same way that alcohol is perfectly well as it is, the problem is the quantities and the use we give to a depressor of consciousness. Um, so when my social life depends on consumption, watch out, you are in an addiction. It doesn't matter if that happens once a month, but if your um, ways of socializing involve consumption of any substance, well, then you have to watch out. There's something going on there that can lead you into a very self destructive path. And again, lying is how addiction thrives. No, it is not true. No, it is not me. Oh, no, it's only once a month. Oh, it doesn't matter. Don't be so tight. It's okay to enjoy, to have fun, to relax. Of course it is. Simply, I'm able to laugh, enjoy, have fun, and have a conversation without having to ingest a substance to provoke that state. If I have to provoke that state, then I am in trouble. And in here, I want also to include all pharmaceutical drugs. If I take an aspirin every day, if I'm dependent on my antidepressants, if I'm dependent on um, all these psychiatric drugs that today are being given as if they were sweets, not only to adults but even to children, well, then I am in an addiction as well. And I have to look deeply into it. If I cannot sleep, but without a pill, if I cannot digest my food, but without a ton of pharmacological substances, well, then something's going on. So, this big lie that addiction tells us, the big lie that nothing is happening and it's okay, that is how it perpetuates itself, and that is how it prevails into our own self destruction. Addiction is a slow suicide. It's the coward road uh, of living, of life. And by not acknowledging it, by permitting it to hide behind a lot of justifications and behind the victim, the poor of me, well, then that is how it wins the battle. So now you know what to watch out for. When we are there, it is imminent that we cannot get out alone, that we need to ask for help. And that's the first step, to recognize and know I have a problem. It's okay to have a problem. I am at this moment, I am powerless in front of my addiction. I need help. Go ask for help.